right, scholars, this week we're going to be working on our listen and respond, and the book we're working on is Tikki, Tikki, Tembo. So make sure your name is at the top. And make sure the date is on here. So I think for green it will be 4/30. And for purple it will be 5/2. So make sure you have the right date, and then go ahead and write the title. So the title is Tikki, Tikki, Tembo. Tikki, Tikki, Tembo. All right, now we're ready to get started. It wants us to go ahead and use college-ready sentences and support our ideas with evidence from the text. We're going to collect clues before we get started reading, and we're going to do that by looking at the front and back cover of the book. All right, so let's see. The front cover, I see a little boy. It looks like he's got a kite, and he's sitting on top of a well. And then I see an old man and an old woman kind of carrying things. They've got a ladder. All right, and then we're going to turn on the back. And it says, Tikki, Tikki, Tembo, no sa rimbo, charibari, ruchi, pip, peri, pimbo is the name of a mother's first and most honored son. It means the most wonderful thing in the whole wide world. All right, so then that's just talking about how many awards this book's won. There's some flowers, and it looks like that kite. All right, so now we're ready to make our prediction. I think this book will be about a boy and his family. And I think this because I read it on the back. Okay, so I gave you one answer. You can have this. You could have your own here. And then I want you to come up with something else that this book might be about. And then tell me why you think this. Once you've done that, we're ready to get started. So let's go ahead. All right. Please don't make fun of me for trying to say these words because they're silly. And I don't know how to say them. But you're probably going to make fun of me anyway, which is okay. That's fine. That's what kids do. All right. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, it was the custom of all the fathers and mothers in China to give their first and honored sons great long names. But second sons were given hardly any name at all. In a small mountain village, there lived a mother who had 2 little sons. Her second son she called Chang, which meant little or nothing. Jeez, Mom, gosh. But her first and honored son she called Tikki, Tikki, Tembo, no sa rimbo, charibari, rushi, pip, peri, pimbo, which meant the most wonderful thing in the whole wide world. My goodness. Every morning the mother went to wash in a little stream near her home. The 2 boys always went chattering along with her. On the bank was an old well. Don't go near the well, warned the mother, or you will surely fall in. So I'm going to pause here. We have some names here. We have, let's just call him Tikki, because I'm not writing that whole name. And I don't think you should want to either. And then we have Chang. And then we have the mom. We might have more people. You can add those people later. I'm going to put that Tikki is the most honored son because he's first, right? He's the most honored son. And then I don't really know what we could put yet for the other one, so let's just leave that blank until we go on to the next one. A good strategy for this is to do inner and outer traits. Inner and outer. Remember, inner is things that you can only tell by the way people act and the things they say. You could tell. I'm honestly a little inclined to believe Mom's not the nicest person because she named her second kid nothing. That's not very nice, right? But I'm going to give her some time before I make that decision. That would be an inner trait, right? You can only tell by the way she acts. An outer trait is like you look at someone and you can see, oh, they have green eyes. Oh, they have brown hair, right? So those are a good way to pick out some traits about your characters. Let's go ahead and keep reading and see if we find out anything new. The boys did not always mind their mother, and one day they were playing beside the well, and on the well when Chang fell in. Oh no. Tikki, Tikki, Tembo, no sa rimbo, charibari, rushi, pep, peri, pimbo ran as fast as his little legs could carry him to his mother and said, "Most honorable mother, Chang has fallen into the well." "The water roars, little blossom. I cannot hear you," said the mother. Then Tikki Tikki Timbo no saw Rimbo Chari Bari Rushi Pip Peri Pimbo raised his voice and cried, "Oh, most honorable one, Chang has fallen into the well." "That troublesome boy," answered the mother. "Run and get the old man with the ladder to fish him out." Then Tikki Tikki Timbo no saw Rimbo Chari Bari Rushi Pip Peri Pimbo ran as fast as his little legs could carry him to the old man with the ladder and said, "Old man with the ladder, Chang has fallen into the well. Will you come and fish him out?" "So," said the old man with the ladder, "Chang has fallen into the well." And he ran as fast as his old legs could carry him. Step over step, he went into the well, picked up little Chang, and step over step, brought him out of the well. He pumped the water out of him and pushed the air into him, and pumped the water out of him and pushed the air into him, and soon Chang was just as good as ever. All right, let's pause here. Let's go ahead and fill in the setting. So I think that they're like, okay, they're in their village. If you'll remember, a setting is where the story takes place. So it's got to be a place. It cannot be a person as a setting, right? Things that could be a setting, you could go to a school, you can go to the beach, you can go to the mall, you can go to the grocery store. These are all settings that things could happen in. It could be a bedroom. Those are all places, right? You can't go to a person. It can't take place on a person. It can't take place like, I can't think of some of the other answers you guys have put up on here, but make sure, a good way to check yourself when you're answering setting, can I go here? Can I go and take a trip to this place? Is this a location? Ask yourself that. And then how does the setting match with what is happening with the characters? So think about this. If this is an old like Chinese folk tale, would this make sense if it was happening in modern day New York City? Probably not, right? So settings match with what's happening because why? What's going on that makes it make sense for this to take place in an old Chinese village instead of New York like ballpark or something, right? Why did the author pick to put this in this location? So go ahead and make your answer here. All right, now we're ready to make a prediction. Remember, a prediction is a guess about what we think might happen next. So something I think might happen next is, this book seems like it's got a lot to go, and they already had a problem, right? Where the boy fell in the well, and then the guy came and got him and saved him, and he's okay. I think that this might happen again. I think that something I think might happen next is Chang might fall in the well again. And you can have this, or you could have your own prediction. It's okay. And I think this because we've already solved a problem and there's still a lot of book left. Okay, so that could be, you could have this for your first one. I want you to come up with your own for the next one. Another thing I think might happen next is this. I think this because I know this about blah, blah, blah. I've had this happen before. I've read a book just like this, or this character was acting this way. It made me think this. So come up with whatever you think might happen next. Let's go ahead and keep reading and see if our predictions are correct. Now, for several months, the boys did not go near the well, but after the festival of the 8th moon, they ran to the well to eat their rice cakes. They ate near the well, they played around the well, they walked on the well, and Tikki Tikki Timbo no saw Rimbo Chari Bari Rushi Pip Peri Pimbo fell into the well. Oh my gosh, so I was kind of right. It wasn't Chang, it was the brother. It was Ricky, or Tikki. I don't know, he has too many names. Anywho. Chang ran as fast as his little legs could carry him to his mother and said, "Oh, most honorable mother, Tikki Tikki Timbo no saw Rimbo Chari Bari Rushi Pip Peri Pimbo has fallen into the well. The water roars, little one, I cannot hear you." So little Chang took a deep breath. "Oh, mother, most honorable," he panted, "Tikki Tikki Timbo no saw Rimbo Chari Bari Rushi Pip Peri Pimbo has fallen into the well." "Tiresome child, what are you trying to say?" said his mother. honorable mother! Chari Rimbo Tikki, he gasped. Pip Pip has fallen into the well. Unfortunate son, surely the evil spirits have bewitched your tongue. Speak your brother's name with reverence. Poor little Chang was all out of breath from saying that great long name, and he didn't think he could say it one more time. But then he thought of his brother in the old well. Chang bowed his little head to clear to the sand, took a deep breath, and slowly, very slowly said, Most honorable mother, Tikki, Tembo, no sa, Rimbo, Chari Rushi Pip, Peri Pimbo is at the bottom of the well. Oh, not my first and honored son, heir of all I possess. Run quickly and tell the old man with the ladder that your brother has fallen into the well. So Chang ran as fast as his little legs would carry him to the old man with the ladder. Under a tree, the old man with the ladder sat bowed and silent. Old man, shouted Chang, come right away. Tikki, Tembo, no sa, Rimbo, Chari Rushi Pip, Peri Pimbo has fallen into the stone well. But there was no answer. Puzzled, he waited. Then, with his very last bit of breath, he shouted, Old man with the ladder! Tikki, Tembo, no sa, Rimbo, Chari Rushi Pip, Peri Pimbo is at the bottom of the well. Miserable child, you disturbed my dream. I had floated into a purple mist and found my youth again. There were glittering gateways and jeweled blossoms. If I close my eyes, perhaps I will return again. Poor little Chang was frightened. How could he say that great long name again? Please, old man with the ladder, please help my brother out of the cold well. So, said the old man with the ladder, your mother's precious pearl has fallen into the well. So it looks like they're taking the ladder and they're going back to the well. The old man with the ladder hurried as fast as his old legs could carry him. Step over step, he went into the well, and step over step, out of the well with the little boy in his arms. Then he pumped the water out of him and pushed the air into him, and pumped the water out of him and pushed the air into him. But little Tikki, Tembo, no sa, Rimbo, Chari Rushi Pip, Peri Pimbo had been in the water so long, all because of his great long name, that the moon rose many times before he was quite the same again. And from that day to this, the Chinese have always thought it wise to give all their children little short names instead of great long names. All right, the end. Okay, so now we're ready to visualize. So readers always think about how this story might look in their heads. You're going to make a mind movie, right? So a lot of you have been saying things like, it looked cool, it looked scary, it looked weird. How did you know that it was cool? How did you know it was scary? Like, what did you see that made you feel scared? What did you see that made you feel like it was cool to look at? What did you see that made you think it was weird? Like, weird to me might be different than weird to you. I think it's really weird that some of you guys be picking stuff up off the ground and put it in your mouth. Apparently y'all don't all think that. I mean, everybody thinks it's weird. I'm sure you guys think it's weird that teachers like to watch the news or teachers like to read all the time, right? So everybody thinks things are different, thinks things are weird in different ways, right? So you have to be able to tell me what about something you're looking at is weird. What makes it weird? What makes it cool? Like, cool to me may not be cool to you. I'm pretty sure we're definitely not on the same page because I am old and not cool anymore, and you guys are, like, really hip. So, I'm imagining the part in the story where, make sure yours matches mine here. Tikki fell in the well. Make sure yours matches exactly what I wrote right here, because if it does not, you will get the rest of these wrong. So I'm going to spell it out for you. If you need to pause it, if you need to rewind it, you can do so. Tikki, Tikki, fell, Fell, Nin, the, well, Well. So I'm imagining the part in the story where Tikki fell in the well is happening. I'm imagining it looks like blank. So just to let you guys know, this is a well. I'm not sure if we all know what it is, but back in the days before we had like running water and stuff, people had, they dug these really, really deep holes in the ground where water would come up. And then they had this little pulley system with a bucket on the end, and they would send the bucket down and get water and then pull it back up. So if you fell in here, what types of things, it's just a big hole where there's water at the bottom. So imagine what would hang out in a big dark hole with water at the bottom, and think about what types of things you might see there. Imagining it looks like here, this is where you can put your scary, your weird, your crazy, your cool. That's what it looks like. It looks scary. It looks crazy. It looks cool. It looks awesome. It looks disgusting. I don't know. Whatever you think that this might look like when someone's inside of a well, that's where you would put that descriptive word, that adjective, right? Here, you're going to tell me what about it makes it look scary. What types of things would you see if you were in a well? So something I think that I would see is really murky water. I'm just thinking this water's been hanging out there. It's like down at the bottom of the ground and like through this long shaft where there's only a little bit of light at the top. So I think it's murky and dark and probably pretty scary, right? I wouldn't want to be stuck in a well. What other things do you think that Tikki might see down here in this well made out of stone with water at the bottom? Think of the types of things that hang out at dark places. Think of the types of things you find in water. Think of the types of things you find in the ground. And what are some things you might see? You can have my answer, but I want you to come up with some more on your own. And then, why do you think it would be scary? What do you know about wells? What do you know about falling down holes? What do you know about sitting in water for a long time? So I think it looks scary because you would be stuck. You wouldn't be able to get out because you can't climb. It's too tall. So think about like all of the things that you know about what's happening so far in the story and what you're describing, and then tell me why you think it would look like that. All right, once you finish that part, you're on to the next question. You're ready to summarize. Readers think about the most important parts of a book. In your own words, give me a summary of the story you just listened to. So the story blank talks about blank. In the beginning of the story, blank. In the middle of the story, blank. And in the end of the story, blank. So the story, remember the parentheses, we don't read them when we're reading something. When we see things in parentheses, it's not to be read aloud when you're reading it. It's like a note, kind of. So this note is telling me what goes in the blank in front of it. It's telling me the title of the story is going in the front. So I know I'm going to write Tikki, Tikki, Tembo. Right here. Okay. Talks about, the characters. So I'm just going to put Tikki and his family, because that's not wrong, right? It talks about him, his brother, and his mom. In the beginning of the story, what happens? In the middle of the story, what happens? The end of the story, how did they solve the problem? So in the beginning of the story, firstborn sons get long special names. Also, the brothers get stuck in the well. Then what happens next? And at the end of the story, how have they solved these problems that they had? So you're filling in the middle and the end. I gave you the first one. You're welcome. So now you're on to the next question. A lot of us are just not doing this, and that's not an option. If you don't do this question, you're going to get it wrong. And if I keep seeing that we're skipping it, I'm going to count off more than one X, because this isn't a choice. It's part of your assignment. Please make sure you're paying attention and following instructions. So I want you to open up Google Classroom, and you're going to start a new post. At the top of where people, the post, the things you type show up, you can just click at that top part. It'll say click here to type something, I think. And that's where you're going to do this. You get to pick one of these options. You either pick this option, which is this box, or you pick this option, which is this box. You don't have to do both. Just one or the other is fine. So if you choose to do making connections, you're thinking about how this book is similar to your own life. So you would title this book, Making Connections to Tikki, Tikki, Tembo. And then you would write about how you connected with this book. I connected to this book because it reminded me of this other book I read called blah, blah, blah. It reminded me of this book because in Tikki, Tikki, Tembo, X happens. And in the other book, Y happens. These two things are similar because they are pretty closely related. I don't know. It depends on what you're saying. This reminds me of a movie I saw. This is the movie, the name of the movie. This is why it reminds me of it. You need to explain why it reminds you of something. Don't just say this reminds me of a movie. Okay, great. That's the whole point of this activity. What movie? Why does it remind you of this movie? Please be specific so that I know how you're connecting it and I can see your thoughts, right? If you don't want to do that one, you don't think it connects to anything, that's fine. You can do the story continued. So in this option, readers would think about what might happen next if the book were to keep going. You're going to title the post Tikki, Tikki, Tembo Continued. And then write about what might happen next. So the little boy got pulled out of the well. He's been like recuperating in bed. What do you think is going to happen next? And then also what happened, they stopped naming their kids these super long names because it kept them from getting help. What do you think is going to happen next to Tikki? What's going to happen next to Chang? So tell me what's going to happen next and why you think this. After you finish one of these, posting it, make sure you have your name on it and then turn it in to me. Don't put it in the drawer because people were getting lost like that for some reason. So make sure you hand it to me and I see you hand it to me. After you've done that, you can move on to Lexia. You can read your book or you can work on any activities that you haven't finished for this week. If you haven't finished your study schedule, I suggest working on that. Please raise your hand if you have any questions and you need any help. Me, Miss B, or Mr. Poole will come and help you.